There is a specter hanging over Europe. The specter of communism. Seriously though, apparently Jordan Peterson, major US critic of Marxism, had never actually read Marx prior to his debate with Zizek. So, know your enemy. Marx had two strings to his bow. You had the negative critique of capitalism and the positive solution he offered, which was communism. Now, communism fails badly. Took tens of millions, at least, in Russia. China, possibly hundreds of millions, who knows. They've managed to work out some sort of socialist capitalist fusion since then, but communism doesn't do well. However, the negative critique of capitalism is still valid. I mean, clearly, capitalism has its problems. Marx did acknowledge it had its strengths as well. It's the best system humans have ever invented for producing wealth and for producing new technologies. Of course, the new technologies are intended mainly to produce more wealth, and the wealth goes towards the owner of capital, towards the owners of the means of production. Hence capitalism, and hence his criticism concerning the exploitation of the workers. A worker is exploited when they are paid less than the value of their labor. And the difference, of course, goes to the owners. It also alienates workers. It alienates workers from other workers. It alienates workers from their friends and family by basically making every relationship into a transactional relationship, even romance. And it alienates workers from themselves, because we come to view ourselves solely in terms of our utility, in terms of the value we provide. If you're not hustling, if you're not grinding, if you're not getting that bread, then you're a less valuable person than someone who is. This notion has become so ingrained into our culture that it seems like a basic fact, but it really isn't. Now, how does this play out in the 21st century? Clearly, when Marx was writing, the means of production were relatively simple. There were massive industrial factories. People worked on assembly lines. It was it was a simpler time. Today, with the information age, things are different. With this electronic device here, I can do more than somebody with a massive film studio could have done 50 years ago. I have the means of production right at my fingertips. I can make movies, I can write novels, make music, anything I want. So in some sense, the means of production have been distributed to individuals. However, the means of distribution have not. I can make a video, but then I need to post it to YouTube and somehow attempt to monetize it. Amazon is making massive amounts of money, not for manufacturing, but for simply distributing, whether it's material goods or immaterial content. Likewise with eBay or Craigslist, you can sell things for sure, but all of it is mediated by these massive corporations. The other big shift, aside from the means of distribution, has been what they're calling the gig economy. And a lot of people don't like this. They say, oh, well, people don't have job security, they don't have pensions, don't have guaranteed income, and so on. And that's true, but being a Uber driver, for instance, or delivery person, or any other number of side hustles mediated by the internet, one does have a lot more control over when they work, the amount of hours they work, they're less alienated from their labor as independent contractors because they're selling their labor. They own it. It's still, of course, mediated by a very large company, but it's not the same sort of hierarchical or structured system as punching a clock every day at a specific location and putting in your time. So as we move forward, things are going to continue to change. And while there are certain dangerous ideologies from the past that we want to avoid, we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. In terms of critiques of systems, we have to remember that things can always be improved. And there is still value in the critical tradition as far as finding ways to improve our system, just as there's still value in capitalism in terms of raising the quality of life and the standard of living all around. So there you go.